Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Nerds podcast. A high energy one this time.
James is back.
Yeah, I'm back. It motivates everybody. So we had a double header today, and we started off with Delhi versus Kolkata Knight Riders. So Delhi batted first, so obviously lost the toss, and they put up a huge score of 215 for 5. We saw the opening partnership of Prithvi Shaw and David Warner, which after the auction, we were like, oh, wow, what an opening partnership. We saw why we were so scared of them. They were really, really good. David Warner slowed down quite a lot at the end, but throughout the whole of their partnership, they were both batting at just shy of sort of 200 strike rate. Like it was really good. Rishabh Pant came in, played a handy little cameo of 27 off 14. Lalit Yadav got outfoxed by the old Narain, which happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Rovman Powell didn't really do a lot. He hit 1-6 and then kind of went out. And
he bowled though.
He did bowl a smelly over.
Got hit for 17.
Yeah. Axar Patel and Shardul Thakur, the Lord, went in and just did their thing, batted very quickly at the end of the innings. Big shout out to Sarfaraz Khan, a specialist batsman that was put in. Well, he wasn't even put in. Like Shardul Thakur was put in ahead of him. That's a bit of a slap in the face.
Thing is, I mean, you could see Sarfaraz Khan. He was on the sideline wanting to go out and hit. But as you say, Sarfaraz looked fantastic. Axar Patel looked great as well. They were just smashing it around. As I say, Rovman Powell and Lalit Yadav were a bit disappointing. Warner looks in good nick, which is always worrying for an IPL when you've got a good-looking David Warner. But the thing for that I found was I was really disappointed in the KKR bowling attack. A bowling attack that has been so tidy, and it just didn't look very good. Umesh Yadav managed to pick up David Warner's wicket. Sunil Narain got a couple, Chakravarti got a couple, or got one wicket, but it wasn't as controlled as we've seen. And I'm not sure whether that was because it was a bad bowling attack or a bad bowling day or a good batting day. I think you could see from the fact that, KKR were bowled out in 19.4 overs for 171, that there was something in there for the bowlers too. And that was with Rovman Powell getting hit for 17 off 1 over. So it was just Delhi just looked really strong, and it was interesting to see how they managed to pull apart what we've coined as one of the best bowling attacks in the league.
I think when Pat Cummins first came back, we thought, oh, that's a bit rough for Tim Southee because he's been bowling really well, and Pat Cummins hasn't bowled well at all. He was awful. Went for 12.75 and over in that innings.
And didn't bat this time very well either.
If we're going to have him in as a specialist batsman, he needs to do something. So quickly over the KKR innings, Ajinkya Rahane, in their effort to chase down 216, got 8 off 14. So real test batsman at the top of the innings.
Yeah.
Venkatesh Iyer actually played with some impetus, got 18 off 8 and then went out. Some really good bowling by Khalil Ahmed, actually.
I agree.
And Kuldeep Yadav took the scalp of Shreyas Iyer. Who else did he take? He got Sunil Narain, Umesh Yadav, and somebody else. Oh, Pat Cummins. Kuldeep Yadav.
He got fourther.
Yeah, he took some tap at the start, but he really pulled it back in sort of the last over and a half of his spell.
Well, he got 3 wickets in his last over.
He was brilliant, and I've got to say, I called it. I just knew Kuldeep Yadav was going to have a good tournament, and
I put him in my fantasy team because of James's call out. So there you go.
It's you got to trust my call outs sometimes. I did kind of put Bairstow as a really good one to watch, and he wasn't.
Let's go over that. One thing I noticed though was there was no Nortje today. So I'm not sure whether his injury has cropped back up again, or there's just something that's not quite there with Amrit Nortje, because he's once again not been included.
I mean, he had that horrible game when he came back. So
played very poorly, but maybe he still wasn't fit. But I thought that Mustafiz Rahman bowled really well. And yeah, I think Delhi just have to do something about Rovman Powell though. If they want to proceed in the tournament, they've got to do something about Rovman Powell because he's just not living up to his expectations. Heroes, villains for that game then, James.
Right. Big villain, Ajinkya Rahane. Yet again, I think he was my villain for their last game, actually.
For that awful catch.
Awful catch, but also just smelly batting. Just do better, mate. You know, I think they need someone else at the top of the order because Ajinkya Rahane
Alex Hales would have been fantastic, wouldn't he?
He would. But I honestly think that they could get Nitish Rana up the order. You know, open with Nitish Rana and Venkatesh Iyer. That's better for me.
Or open with two Iyers. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, why not?
Shreyas and Venki.
Yeah, although I think Shreyas likes that number 3, and he's doing well at number 3. So
yeah,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Hero of that game. Let me have a think. Who's the biggest hero? I'm gonna say Prithvi Shaw. Actually, I thought he batted incredibly well. Before he was outfoxed by the mystery spin of Varun Chakravarti. But yeah, I think Prithvi Shaw, just the impetus that he puts in at the top of the order is brilliant. David Warner also deserves a shout out. He batted very well.
He's never going to be a hero on our podcast because he's David Warner. That's just never going to happen.
But if it wasn't David Warner, he'd be another hero.
Yeah, exactly. I can't give it to David Warner for obvious reasons. So Kuldeep Yadav gets it for me. And also a shout out to Lord Sardal for his batting rather than his awful bowling. It really wasn't his day today, but he really went on it with the bat. And I think from a KKR perspective, I think Shreyas Iyer deserves a little shout out for that. And then Narayan for bowling economically, being the only person in that side to go over 5 and over, under 6 and over. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Under 6 and over.
So the next game we had was Rajasthan versus Lucknow. And we had another last over thriller. And it kind of looked like it could have been a repeat of the Punjab game, Punjab versus Gujarat Titans, because it came down to the last over. We had Big Stoin at the end. Yeah. And so he couldn't do it at the end, could he?
He couldn't do it, but it was very close. But let's go through the Rajasthan innings. So interestingly, this is the first game this year that Rajasthan have used all 4 of their overseas slots. So interesting that it's taken them to now to do that. But so they came out and the batting was interesting. Jaiswal's been dropped. So Devdutt Padikal's been pushed up the order, which I thought was an interesting one. I thought that's maybe a bit unfair on Jaiswal because...
I think it was about time, to be honest. He's batting awfully, and Padikal looked really good touch. So yeah, I saw the why.
I think, I can see why, but I think it's a bit soon to do that to Jaiswal, just for me. But as you say, Padikal looked really good in that slot. Sanju Samson didn't really need to get out of the way that he did. Just good bowling from Holder. And then new boy, Rassi van der Dussen comes in, who I think once he gets into his stride in Indian conditions will be really good. And then some really inspired batting from Shimron Hetmeyer. I think he looked fantastic. He was slashing it all over the place for 6. And it was really only Hetmeyer that got them up to a reasonable score. Interesting bit of tactics. Ravi Ashwin was retired out in the 18th or 19th or 20th over for Rian Parag to come in. I think obviously you can see what they're trying to do there tactically. Trying to get a little bit of big hitting in. That is Parag's role. He did strike at over 200. He managed to get himself out on his 3rd or 4th hit. But all in all, I think it was quite clean bowling by the Lucknow Supergiants, with the exception of Jason Holder. And Kay Gautam looks really good now as well. But what did you think about that bit of tactics for retiring Ashwin out, James? Are you a fan or not?
I don't know how I feel about it, because when it first happened, and you just saw Ravi Ashwin running off the pitch, I was like, what the heck is going on here? Because I sent a message to our Cricket Nerds chat, and I was like, what is he? Is he retired hurt or something?
Is he hurt?
But no, it was just some tactics. And my first reaction was, I'm not sure I like that. Seems a bit against the spirit of the game. But you know what? It was actually very good tactics. And as we saw in the end, it won them the game because Ryan Parag's 8 off 4 turned out to be, a vital 8 runs, which Ravi Ashwin at the end might not have been able to get. Like he's not someone that can strike at 200. So it turned out to be very good. I've just noticed, actually, looking at the Rajasthan setup or the lineup that they had, I think they made the exact changes that I suggested last game. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of IPL teams are listening to us
our
now
podcast
because you suggested spinning the power play before. They've done that. Like a lot of teams have started implementing that. And then, I'm pretty sure that Rajasthan have made the changes I said. So you know what? Big shout out to Rajasthan. You deserve the win because
good job,
you've listened to the Cricket Nerds podcast, which is what every team should do. And you know what? If you guys want to throw us a couple of bucks as a thank you, we will kindly accept. But Krishnappa Gautam bowled really well. However, the Lucknow innings did not start well at all.
I mean, that was phenomenal. Trent Boult coming out and taking KKR Hall first ball. It was a fantastic. I don't know what Trent Boult was on, but he was looking immense in that first over. Like wicket, wicket, wide wicket, I think is how it went. And it just, he completely foxed K. Gautam with that LBW. Quinton de Kock, the other side, was like, what is going on? Jason Holder didn't last very long either. And then Deepak could have put up a little bit of fight. And then very sad to see Ayush Badoni not scoring runs for the first time. That's really going to affect his average. But again, Yuvzi Chahal was just bowling fantastic. Looked so good today. I mean, taking 4 wickets for not many runs. Oh, no. 4 wickets for 41
he took a bit of tap, but tell you what.
But he got the wicket.
He's a wizard. And that's what you want from a leggy, isn't it? You accept that you're gonna take a few runs, but you're gonna get wickets, and that's Yuzvendra's he's an old-fashioned leg spinner in that way. He isn't always the most economical. A lot of the time he is because he's just so good. But you would rather from a leg spinner, you'd rather say, look, you just come on, break up this partnership because Quinton de Kock's looking a bit dangerous. Holds one out to long on. Who else? Ayush Badoni, he can take wickets. Oh, okay. Holds one out to mid wicket. It's modern T20 leg spin.
Yeah, exactly.
Where,
and then,
go on.
Well, and then massive shout out to Kuldeep Sen for keeping his bottle in that last over. And it was 15 off last over, which if it was Odin Smith, I'd be worried if he was bowling that over for me. But Kuldeep Sen looked okay and seemed to keep his head. And Stoinis, first game in this IPL, I think there's an argument to say Stoinis should have come a little bit higher up in the order, possibly maybe come in before what's his face? Krunal Pandya would have been my argument. Just push him up that one further and then Krunal to come in afterwards. That would be my preferred option because we know how dangerous Marcus Stoinis is.
I think
they disagree.
I think they put the Stoinis. I think they held him back in the same way that RCB have held Kartik back because they've got Stoinis for the role of finisher, and I think that's where they want to keep him. They want to really have that defined role. That's what you're doing as soon as you come in. Something I did notice with Stoinis was one of the balls he tried to ramp it. Because he was expecting the Yorker. However, that was one of the few balls that Sen bowled that was actually completely in the slot. And Stoinis couldn't put it away because he'd gone for the ramp shot. And funnily enough, one of the best balls to bowl when they bowl a ramp or when they try to go for the ramp is in the slot because it just sits up a little bit higher. So if Stoinis had just swung through the line on that one, he'd have sent it a mile because he's got some of the biggest arms in the IPL. And, he did still strike at a strike rate of 223. But I actually think that Stoinis will be quite disappointed with himself, because I think he faced like 3-4 dot balls in that last over. And that was the time. There were some balls to be hit there. And Stoinis just couldn't get him away.
And this is what I say, even though he is in that finisher role, like he is one of your big hitters. He's your match winner. Like you've retained him on purpose. He is your match winner. Actually, send him out a little bit earlier. I mean, it wouldn't have even been that much earlier to send him in above Krunel, but put him in because he will score those vital runs for you. I know he's in there as that role for a finisher, but I would suggest, I think Stoinis had to come in a bit earlier, because he could have been swinging from the start, and we know what Stoinis is like. He can win you games, but there you go. I think Lucknow messed up, and I think they gave Rajasthan the win, even though there was some real good play there from Rajasthan. Like Trent Bolt looked fantastic, and then Prashid Krishna and Kuldeep Sen like managing to keep those runs down. I think it was a good day for IPL.
So heroes and villains for the Rajasthan Lucknow game. I'm going to say my hero was actually Chamira. Even though he was on the losing side, he actually bowled really well. Chamira is my hero, and my villain for the game has got to be KL Rahul, because a first ball duck is always just a horrible start, and I put him as my captain this game week, and he hasn't done well. So there we go. KL Rahul. How about you?
I would say my hero is Chahal, just for those 4 wickets. He looked really good. And Shimon Hetmeyer for that fantastic bowling spell. And then villain, I'm going to put it to Jason Holder. He was a bit more expensive than he'd like to be as that star player for LSG, and didn't contribute with the bat either. I'd have actually preferred to see also, just as a side note, Badoni come in before Holder. That's just me, because I know that Badoni can play that longer innings, whether because he's so young they're holding him back. So a little bit of LSG think tank villainy there as well. I think they could have had a rethink of their order that they came in.
Well, there we go.
Last thing before we finish, we've been asked to predict tomorrow's game as a last thing. So it's Sunrisers versus GT. I think we're going to be in complete agreement to say we think it'll be Gujarat. Yes,
Gujarat will win. I will be supporting Sunrisers, because first of all, Gujarat are owed a loss because Punjab gifted them that win. I'm still not over it. Okay. But yeah, and Sunrisers have got such a likable squad. They've just got such a terrible squad. So you know what, Sunrisers, please. You're coming off a win against the previous champions. Let's not talk about the state of them. But yeah, Sunrisers, come on. You know what? A hopeful win. I'm going to go for a hopeful prediction. Sunrisers to win tomorrow. You heard it here first, and you will only hear it here. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. We are so close to 200 subscribers. So join it now. You'll be one of the first before we, hit those huge numbers that we're going to hit. Just join now while we're still in those hundreds, and you can show off to your friends. Also follow our social medias. We are at Cricket Nerds Pod, and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you want. Just listen and watch.
All the podcasts.
Yes. So yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.